there's hundreds of lives being saved, but there are thousands of lives being left behind. I don't know what can be done to help them. I just, know that this is something very real, something very horrific, something that I could have never personally imagined being true unless I would have heard it come from the mouth of the boy that I raised for 23 years. I can't imagine that we give our kids baths, and we tell them to make sure they know where their private areas are. We teach them, to protect themselves. We ask them, are you okay? Have you been hurt? And this is what we teach them all the time. And then we send them off into the world and they see so much hurt, so much pain, so much brokenness, and they come back home broken as if it had happened to themselves, and what's worse, not being able to have saved everybody. That's a story that I have personally experienced, and just thought I would share so that we know it is real, and there are people in our community who have seen it, who have experienced it, and who have tried to fight it, but there's just not enough fight out there. That's all I got.
Wow.
Yay, good job.
Thanks for sharing that, Nadine. Thank you. So we're right on schedule. We skipped me on the schedule, so I'm going to try to throw in what I need to say along with the direction for the rest of the evening. Danielle and I kind of had a lot of the same pointers, so I'm just going to pull a few things. I'm not going to keep you too much longer. Just a few things that I wanted to add to all of that. That was a rough story that Nadine shared, but it's the truth, and our soldiers are seeing it and they're part of it. So one thing I just wanted to share was, 50 years ago, the abomination of slavery seemed like a thing of the past, right? But history seems to have a way of repeating itself. Today we find that human slavery is a sickening reality. We've heard all these stories from the organization. We've heard from Nadine. Cases are reported in every country as well as every state. Something I wanted to point out is Danielle said that the human trafficking business is a $150 business. Wow. Imagine that. You all know who McDonald's is, right? We all know who Apple is, and we all know who Nike is, right? Did you know that those three organizations don't even make that much? So this $150 billion business of human trafficking, those three companies, Nike and McDonald's and Apple combined, don't even equal 150 billion in revenue. Just imagine that. That's what they're doing with human beings. And regardless of the numbers, what matters is that human trafficking is big, and it's only getting bigger. What matters is that every number represents a human life destroyed. Sex trafficking is an offense to the sanctity of a human life. All human beings are made in the image of God and thus equally valuable. So when many of you guys think that and not just you guys, but people around think that trafficking happens in Syria, in Canada, in California, not here, not in Espanola, no way, right? Oh, it's happening. These children are not just being abducted and sold into the market, like Nadine said, but this is happening in our own communities. We've heard it, we've seen it. I don't need to mention the names. We have a little girl in Albuquerque that was just killed not too long ago. She was being trafficked by her mother. It's happening everywhere. It's happening in our own backyards, in our neighborhoods. There's people that are perpetrated by individuals who appear to be leading normal lives. So a lot of these people that are engaging in these crimes, they look just like me, they look just like you. And they're using their children as a form of payment for drugs, for alcohol, bills, anything you can think of. So I'm gonna stop there, but I wanted to just reiterate a little bit of what Danielle was saying. There's ways to get involved, and she said that, donate, get involved with an organization, come and march with us, spread the word. Get on the Our website. Then there's other organizations, but this is the one we're representing. Find out what you can do. Find out what the signs are. It only takes a few minutes. Find out what the signs are. And when you see what they are, look around, pay attention, be aware, look at your neighbors. Who cares if you're being nosy? You could save a life. You really could. And if that life is important, every life matters, right? Every life was created by God. And so I'm going to wrap up with that, but I did want to say one last thing before I give the direction, and that was Danielle said that to write your legislators, find out what they're doing about this. What are they doing about human trafficking? Not just that, but when we're voting people, pay attention when you're voting. Just don't be voting for your friends or who grandma or grandpa said or auntie or uncle. Find out what you care about. What matters to you? What do you stand for? And then make sure that candidate stands for that. And here's a perfect example. which of our legislators are going to propose bills to fight human trafficking, and which ones are going to vote for it, so that we have our law enforcement, our legislation, our government fighting against this. We need to be in a battle here. It's a spiritual battle, but we also need our government, our law enforcement, our politicians. Everybody needs to be getting involved in this. How could anybody stand for it? It's amazing. So anyways, we hear about this as global injustice. You see all these riots all over. You see all this protesting everywhere. That's great and that's fine. Everybody has their right to protest, and that's what we're doing today. We're standing here, we're rising up for children. Thank you for coming, thank you for being here in the heat, taking away from your busy schedules. What we're gonna do here is we are going to line up right over here. We have a few leaders here, and if you could raise your hands just so they can kind of see who you are. So David's here, Anthony, Ben Gurale, who else do we got? Jerome Sosi and Joe Blea. They're going to be basically our peacekeepers / escorts. So they're going to be leading the prayer walk all the way up towards Walmart. So we'll have one in the front, and then they're going to kind of stagger in between. They're going to make sure that you're safe. I see a lot of you are social distancing, good for you. However you want to be in the line, you do it. Whatever's comfortable for you. If you want to be 6 feet from people, you be 6 feet. If you want to be closer to people, you do what you do. But just respect everybody. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, wear a mask. You all have your right to do it. That's why we're Americans. That's why Nadine's son was over there fighting for our freedom to do what we have, freedom of choice.
Amen.
So hang up those balloons, hang up those signs, be that voice. Let this community see, let them become aware, let them wonder what these yellow and balloons are all about. So one thing that Danielle didn't say, and I don't know if you saw that on the flyer, blue stands for against child abuse and against human trafficking. The yellow stands for OUR, which is Operator Underground Railroad, the organization we keep hearing about. So that's why we have that. So thank you for all those wonderful signs. There's great signs, great voices out here. So let's be a voice for the people. We're gonna go ahead and gather around. We're going to turn back around when we get here. We have a couple more things. I understand people have busy schedules, but if you can stick around, we're going to do a closing prayer. We're going to do, Pastor Dion from our church is going to do that. We're going to do a 7 o'clock live stream from actually the organization. We're going to come into the church. And thank you, Pastor Mike, for allowing us to use the church parking lot and the inside of his sanctuary to do this. We're so grateful to him and the church for allowing us to do that and just for supporting it so much. Again, thank you for everybody that's here, and let's get this thing done. God bless and keep us safe. Amen. One more thing, guys, I'm sorry. If you see the city police are here, we have fire department, so everybody's gonna be here to keep us safe, so don't feel like you'll be unsafe. Thank you. Back to blue.